Well, a very good morning. Welcome to BC TV. It is Good Morning Uganda Extra here today. My name is Jagan Nasemakola Ziksokam, and here is where we are today on another lovely day. It is the 1st of March in this year, 2022. It is a Tuesday. Welcome to this new month. And of course, we start the month with issues of Kampala, capital city. And of course, joining me in studios, three guests. And I'll start with my brother here, Benjamin Ernest Chivumbi of the Aston Project. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. What an honor to be at the national airwaves. Chivumbi Ernest Benjamin from Aston Project, which undertaking in Kampala Capital City Authority since May last year. This Aston Project...
We'll talk about the Aston Project.
All right.
Happy to have you. Thank you for joining me. Together with Benjamin Ernest Benjamin Chivumbi is Engineer Byamukama Jacob, the Acting Engineer and Technical Services from the Kampala Capital City Authority. You're welcome, Engineer Byamukama.
Yeah, good morning viewers and good morning listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Engineer. And of course, Councillor John Mary Sebufu, and also City Minister for Finance and Administration. You're welcome, Mr. Politician.
Thank you very much. Yeah, happy to be here today and to watch you now physically, because I've been watching you from a distance. Yes. But happy to be here. Yes, I'm John Mary Sebufu, the Road Council representing the people of Chanja, Chiwatri and Bokototo parishes, but also doubling as the State Minister for Finance and Administration in Kampala Capital City Authority, appointed by the Lord Mayor of the City of Kampala.
Did you carry some money with you?
I always move with the money.
You always move with money, so you come with some...
I always have money with you.
Okay, because
but
you're the City Finance Minister.
Yes, because I'm the Finance Minister. I must give people assurance.
But you look the money itself. You have to look a Finance Minister.
Thank you very much. I don't think so, but I'm doing my best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And of course, cities we are talking about the smart city of Kampala, and of course, the experts. We have a politician, we have a technical person, an engineer, and we also have the Aston Project officer here, Mr. Chivumbi Ernest Benjamin. Let's start by first of all deciphering what Aston Project is before we get or related to the issues of Kampala Capital City Authority.
Thank you so much. And the Aston Project is a French-funded project by the government of France under the French Development under the French Development Fund, but it brings together 11 African cities, and Kampala is the lead city in this. These cities on the continent of Africa, Aston itself stands for Smart Towns or Smart Cities Network. So it is derived from UBACT. UBACT is a European model that brings also together about 17 European cities, and they're trying to digitalize the city. So Aston derives itself from UBACT, and then we are trying to see that digitalization or transformation in digital-wise in the cities of Kampala is manifested. Kampala decided to, each city has thematic areas where it is giving emphasis on. Like other cities are on revenue, revenue collection, but here in Kampala we are undertaking the mobility part of it.
Mobility?
Yes. The mobility part of it, we have carried research before, and we have established that so much is wasted in terms of hours and productivity affected by congestion and traffic in the city. So Kampala initially planned to hold around 2 million people by the British colonial masters. Today is having a population of more than 7 million, both living and working in Kampala. So the city has not expanded yet to the level that we want it to expand. And when you look at that, as the population expands, there are also vehicles also increasing. And the infrastructure in place that we're also trying to put up is not enough to accommodate. But even in where infrastructure is still being worked on, we're thinking that there should be solutions to address some of the local challenges Kampala is facing right now, and among them is the congestion that we're now seeing. So the Aston Project, we're trying to have these applications and other interventions to do with traffic. For instance, we have established an application that can be able to report incidences happening on our roads daily, and that is being corrected each and every day. We began with phase 1, which was to do with research, and then the phase 2 was piloting, and now we're into the phase of implementation.
Okay.
So,
well, I'll come back and get more from you, Mr. Chivumbi Benjamin Ernest. Let me get into the mind of the engineer here, Engineer Byamukama. Now, he's actually talked about all the things, and the theme for Kampala, or the thematic area that Kampala is handling, is called the mobility bit of it. Now, we know that the mobility economy is one of the drivers now of this time in as far as economic growth is actually concerned. He's talked about applications that can help us do all the things, read traffic, read distance on the road and stuff like that. But yet we have very impassable roads within the city. We have narrow roads within the city. We have very squeezed roads and all these things. I'm only just looking at it. I want to know how KCCA comes into the Aston Project and make it real for us, because it's one thing to have an application, but it's also another thing which is physically that Jagenda is on the road, and Ernest and engineer and the councillor there. All of us are squeezed on this road, even without the application. Come in now and tell us what your department, especially at KCCA, is doing in this particular project.
Yeah, thank you so much. As he said, the main theme is mobility, and we are looking at an application. It's about digitizing and being able to have useful information for the citizens who are staying in the city to be able to use the network, which you have said is poor, but to a great extent congested. I'm sure many of us have been using some of these applications all over the place. Most of them are free, like Google. But this particular project is going to get us an application that is going to be useful to us, the citizens in Kampala. One, it will have a journey planner, so you will be able to determine how long it's going to take you, and based on the research that has been ongoing, you know, we have been able to use that information to predict journeys along roads. But of course, there will be continuous collection of data to help improve the journey planning aspect. The other issue that this project is bringing about is we shall be able to provide information in real time of where things are happening. For example, if there's an accident, there's an accident spot here, that will affect your journey time. It could also help people who are intending to use that route to divert. If there are roadworks on a certain section of road, and I'll tell you more about this very soon, there will be lots of roadworks on several sections of the network in the city. So we'll, again, through this project, through this app, you'll be able to know these places are going to have roadworks, they are going to delay us over this period. So there'll be more information to the public, help in reducing congestion or determining people's journeys, reducing their travel time to where they are going.
So the assumption is, I am moving out of UBC here, and I have data on my phone, and I have to look at my phone before I move.
Yes.
Because I have to actually look at my phone to actually say, what does Aston tell me? I am now driving out of here to my councillor's place, my Lord Councillor's place in Chihuahua.
Yes.
And so how do I get from UBC? That's what you're saying?
Yes, so you will be having a lot more information before you make your journey. So those days you'd know I'm going to use, these are the normal roads to this place, but maybe there's a shorter route, there's an alternative. And it will be up to you to choose. So the citizen is more informed about his journey. And sometimes you find it will be faster to walk. For example, if we are working on Kampala Road, why don't you take a stroll on Nile Avenue as you go towards the City Square? So something like that, making decisions, giving you shorter journeys for you to make the right choice.
Okay. Mr. John Mary Sewofo, come to the conversation here. Now, I am only wanting to know how the Finance and Administration Ministry of KCCA comes into all this.
Thank you very much. First of all, I wish to thank you so much once again, and the management of our UBC. Because UBC is ours. We used to stay in the villages down there, and you could only watch UBC.
It used to be UTV then.
UTV.
Yes.
And when these days, when you don't have any subscription, you watch UBC. Actually, at home, I'm watching strictly UBC. But we are grateful because for it, at least it's almost free to every Ugandan. So I need to appreciate that, first of all. But secondly,
Yes.
I want to thank our colleagues, the AFD, the French Development Agency. They have really come in, they have motivated us. A few months ago, we were in Kigali with all our brothers and sisters from the African continent in those 11 cities to agree on the continent's agenda. And it was a good intervention from them. They are giving some technical expertise, but also some financial assistance. Yes, it is still at the formative stage of the project, but generally, we have to thank them. And we are grateful to AFD. Now, the Aston Project, the smart city. Kampala must be part of the international agenda. We have all moved in different states. I was recently just in Rwanda, like I've been telling you. But almost in every area there is an internet. Kigali, just Kigali. It's a very small city, but there is an internet almost every corner of Kigali. Now Kampala has got to go to that level. And we are very late. We are just too late. We just need to move a little fast. And secondly, like the engineer has been telling you, a lot from the economic perspective, because you need to pick that angle. When you're in Kampala, you cannot go beyond 26 kilometers per hour. You cannot. And that means you are going to use more fuel than you should have used. That has got an economic implication. It has a financial implication if you spend more hours in jam. For example, here in Kampala, actually statistics have it that because we have over 400, I can say 380,000 vehicles that move near, but if you took half of that, and you estimated the economic impact of that, and then the fuel spent in a jam, you are going to find that almost every day we spend over 500 million shillings in a jam. That is an economic impact and effect. So when we come into the project, say mobility in Kampala, we mean it and we mean seriousness about it. But what does it mean in terms of implementation? KCCA has got a 2020-2025 strategic agenda or strategic work plan.
And actually, I wanted to ask you that, whether we have a plan of Kampala
and
in the next
everything
5 or 10 years.
Is in that strategic agenda.
2020,
But being the
2025.
Executive Secretary for Finance and Administration, I think it's right to bring in this now. That agenda to be implemented. Because people cannot move in Kampala swiftly when the roads are not worked on very well.
Very important.
Yes, when the lights are not very good. When there's no specific guarantee on some of the benefits people need from KCCA. Now our budget, our estimated budget, is 1.5 trillion shillings per year to implement that strategic agenda, to expand the roads, to put in lights, so that there can be some mobility. People moving freely. Now what is it from central government? For example, this 2022-2023 budget framework paper, they gave us 441.79 billion shillings.
Which is just a quarter of maybe
That
what you're
is
looking for.
slightly less than 30% of what we are supposed to get.
That's a quarter.
Because we are supposed to be, it's not a quarter, slightly bigger than a quarter.
Okay.
Yes, 30%.
30%.
Almost a third of what we are supposed to get for the engineers to do work. Now we are telling because I could say Article, I think 5 of the Constitution.
It's Article 5 of the Constitution.
Of the Constitution.
It's Article 5 of the Constitution.
Article 5 of the Constitution. We are administering the city on behalf of the central government. And you know, as a journalist, that most of the money from URA is mobilized from the boundaries of Kampala. Over 60% of the revenue collections are having a connection with Kampala. So we are saying, we are telling government, we are requesting government that please, I think it's important that Kampala being the mirror of this country, we need to invest more in Kampala. Secondly, you cannot milk a cow which you do not feed. It's important that people in Kampala are paying enough taxes compared to other parts of the country. So we need to bring a little more by financing the strategic plan for Kampala. When you do finance it, Then our friends in Engineering Directorate, planning, health, education, because the smart city embraces all the sectors of the city. We have smart city. By the way, for your information,
So smart city is another project of its own that embraces everything?
no, smart city is a concept that is being promoted by this Aston agenda.
The Aston agenda.
And what it means is that the people of Kampala, you are self-inclusive. You have to sit down, think, innovate, and how do you make Kampala? How do you add value to Kampala? You as a citizen of Kampala. Those in revenue collection, we use IT. Now we are collecting revenue using the smart city arrangement. IT. Technology is coming in every service that we are giving. So in revenue collection, we are saying, please, let us adopt that. In identifying problems in Kampala, for example, I will continue giving example of Kigali. An engineer told me in Kigali that
The Byabakama of Kigali.
Come again?
The Byabakama of Kigali.
The Byabakama of Kigali. Actually, the Byabakama, good enough, he was trained here, but he's a professional there. He told him that for us, if there is a problem in Kigali, assuming there is some problem with the street light, it takes 15 minutes for the city engineer to know. And the next 30 minutes, it will have been replaced. So in Kampala, we don't have that mechanism. But with the smart city arrangement, the smart city we are talking about for clarity of our viewers. It's not this business of going to Chikubo, you sweep.
Actually, just hold it there, Mr. John Mary.
Yes.
Let me come to Mr. Chivumbi, because I wanted Mr. Chivumbi here of the Aston Project to tell us what is smart in the city.
Okay.
Before you get into sweeping or Wino or Chikubo or maybe, but what is smart in the city, to just understand the concept of smart? Because we've had so many of these, Kampala City Yange, this, now it is smart city. But what is smart in this concept?
Thank you so much. Basing on, we are into pursuing Uganda to become a middle-income status country. We have Vision 2040, we have the UN agendas to have as many countries getting close to development as possible. So several sustainable development goals that even Uganda is having a full a secretariat under the office of the Prime Minister understands that each and every issue concerning whether it is environmental, whether it is in health, whether it is in education, whether it is in different sectors are digitalized. So right now, when we talk about smart city, we are getting more beyond the traffic congestion itself. And we are trying to look at so many other ways that KCC has come up on this very concept. For instance, we have the issue of tax collection methods, so whereby Ugandans do not have to hustle a lot when they're transacting with KCC. Are you do you want to be issued a permit? Do you want to
trading
pay
license?
Yeah, trading licenses. Everything is done online, and that is very simple. We have installed, or is been talking about a free internet. Together with the Ministry of ICT, we are trying to ensure that there is free internet in the city. We began a pilot project of internet Kampala, I mean my UG on Kampala Road. I understand there is another contractor taking it over, but we have the infrastructure of KCC, ICT infrastructure of KCC undertaking it. So all that is under a smart city. We are having a mechanism that is so much on environment. And Kampala, as I explained earlier, was planned for few people. But right now, as we're talking, the population is so high, so the cars are so many, and that is contributing to pollution. So the air quality in Kampala city, we have monitors. Actually, they are active in Kampala and powered by KCC to detect the air quality in Kampala and make reports concerning whether they're alarming, whether there is something to change. All this is making it possible for a smart city to be undertaken. So various arrangements are being done. We have a project we launched recently called Kamkamvi, whereby we want to have addresses on every building, on every house in Kampala. And as it is happening right now, you may see that there are several houses whereby they have been given, they've been marked. There's an address on them, a number on them. That is also part of the smart project that we're talking about. So it is more diverse.
Okay. It's beyond sweeping, or we know Chikuwa, like he was actually coming to explain.
Yes.
Engineer Biamkama, he talked about the figures because he's the Minister for Finance, yes. He talked about the figures, how much is needed for every financial year to see that we actually get there. And getting just 30%, roughly 30% of what you're supposed to be getting. Ugandans want a very good city. Ugandans want a very good, modern capital city. When you look at Kampala, in the last about 15 years, we've hosted the world's most superior persons, I could say. We've had the Queen here, heads of states, we have had the Pope here, we've had all the others. Now, when they get that opportunity to come to Uganda, the place they come to is actually the moment they land at Entebbe, the next destination is Kampala capital city, which is the summary of Uganda, I could actually say. Is this a city that you would love to have a Pope visit, a Queen visit, heads of state visit, diplomats, ambassadors, name them, people from everywhere coming? You also have opportunities to actually visit the other parts of the world or cities where you've been. What do you think is our undoing, especially when it comes to you now, the technical persons or technical people and the politicians? Are you in agreement, and I don't mean to agree that we should do this, but I'm only looking at, do you focus the same way? Are you scoring into the same goal for you, the technical persons? Because Engineer Biamkama has this job, maybe for 5 years, his contract will be renewed. My councillor is not sure of the next election. He's not sure. He says, I need to do my best, or even he doesn't want to come back to the city. He says, let me be here in Chanja as I make way to go to Parliament. And he will be there. I'm looking at all these things. What do you think needs to be done for us to have that city that is amiable for all of us, that we can be proud of, and somebody goes back and say, I visited Uganda, I went to Kampala, and they also talk about Kampala as somebody's talking about Kigali or any other cities on their TVs and radios?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll be very frank with you. I'll be very frank. So,
please.
First of all, I think we all need to rethink how we use the little infrastructure that we have.
Sure.
So, first of all, the type of vehicles we have on our network, bodas, those ones are now, in fact, we struggle to count those. And
they have
taxis,
no passage.
Yeah.
They pass everywhere. They can even pass into a building and go if they can.
So first of all, we have to deal with the human beings to become law-abiding, but also make sure that we now use more efficient means of transport, because really public transport is the first one, is the key one. So we need to deal with that. We need to have that transformation from taxis and the bodas towards bigger vehicles on our roads. Already, like Ernest said, and also the Honorable Lord Councillor, we have big issues with the numbers of the vehicles that are on our network. Of course, as a city like this one, this is the capital city of the country. There's always that rural to urban migration, which is going to keep on increasing. We need to plan for that. We've done that. We have several plans in place. We have a multimodal master plan for transport, which focuses on mass transit. So using buses, for example, trains, and bigger vehicles. And that is the direction we are going. And then we come and look at also our roads. Most of our network in the city is very poor. We have been trying to patch potholes. But the roads are gone. So you can have a road, for example, Sezibwa, just near here, Sezibwa Road. It has no pothole, but when you are moving on it, it is as if you are rolling on.
You are the engineer.
Yes.
I am a journalist. I actually don't know. I should be asking an engineer, why do we have those roads that wobble?
Correct. And the answer is very simple. The Lord Councillor told you we need to invest in our network. So all those pavements have lived their life, and we need to work on them. So the bad network needs to be dealt with. Fortunately, we have some projects which we are going to start on. One is the African Development Bank project. It's going to work on several roads in the city. We already have the Kampala flyover project implemented by UNRWA, but going to be maintained by us,
KCCA.
by KCCA. We have another project which is going to work on the junctions and also build a traffic control center. This will help at least in managing and making sure people move faster within sections. But if you're moving from one junction and it is working very well to the next one, the link also, the road connecting to these junctions needs to be done very well. So those projects are there. What we need is more financing for government of Uganda projects to be able to repair those pavements, like I've said, and also look at other bigger mass transit things. For example, now, if we look at public transport, yes, we have the bodabodas and the taxis. This is their industry. This is where they make money from. We need to grow with them as we move into bigger vehicles, because those vehicles now will have to be replaced by bigger vehicles. And we are beginning to have that discussion with them. Thanks to AFD again, they carried out what we call a Paratransit Study. Paratransit is small movement, small vehicles moving. So the Paratransit Study has helped us to see how we can work with those stakeholders in the transport industry, but also formalize them. Start by giving them routes, and once we move from routes, then we can now determine and work with them using all the statistics that is available, also showing them that our network is not, for example, if you have Kampala Road, you're not going to build 10 lanes. You are going to remain with the 6 lanes or 4 lanes in sections. You need to use those lanes efficiently. And what do you need? You need vehicles that carry more people and not small vehicles carrying one person on that network. And then we have, of course, also to look at who comes into our city using which mode most. And it is people who are walking. More than 50% of the people who walk to town. And cyclists
they walk because it's actually expensive in terms of time to pick a taxi from Chibuye and you're coming to maybe what they call it, ShopRite, the former ShopRite. You know, picking a taxi at Chibuye, coming to ShopRite is more costly in terms of time, as opposed to somebody who walks 20-30 minutes, they're actually there. I drive from Entebbe to Chibuye in 30-40 minutes. Then from Chibuye to get to UBC, it takes me another 1.5 hours. And you wonder, so you need to plan your journey much earlier, because Engineer Biamukama and Lord Councillor Sebufu have not done what they're supposed to do for us. And that's why we are indicting you. What needs to be done first?
I want to pick it from there.
Yes.
First of all, a smart city is a place that meets the needs of the people. For example, the spirit of the context of Kampala as a capital city. A smart city is that part of Uganda, that is in this case Kampala, which meets the desires, the needs of its people, of its citizens. Now in Kampala, we have a variety of people across board. He has been talking about the bodabodas, taxis, everything, markets, whatever. Now, what is the status of our economy? Because somebody comes, rural to urban migration is on the rise now because people think they have better opportunities in the city setup than any other part of the country. Therefore, it goes to the National Planning Authority to think about strategies to deal with this country, so that you can reduce on the numbers of people moving from villages to towns. You cannot reduce them unless the opportunities, say, in Rakai. If you want people to remain there, one time I think it was South Africa. And in South Africa, it was Durban. But one of the person there told me that, no, with me, I grew up from here. I stayed from here. I'm living here because everything is here.
In Durban.
In Durban. I was in California. The same thing happened. No, with me, I don't need to go to New York, Boston, because we have everything here. So nobody's moving from California to New York. I mean, unless I'm going to meet Mr. Jagenda, just for fun. but not for jobs and so on. Now, that's the fundamental issue. The government must wake up. The government must come up, must plan this country very well. Otherwise, there are so many people moving from villages every day to Kampala. Now, if you ask the minister in charge
Of Kampala.
not in Kampala, for Kampala,
the minister
our
for pla-
minister is incapacitated. I mean, the problem is already here. But the minister in charge of planning nationally, how is he reducing the numbers of people moving from villages to towns? And the capital city is one. Yes, we have these other cities, but the capital city is one. Now, as leaders, first of all, why people elected us, unlike my friends who are just appointed, people have their desires. And we assured them that you can make a change in their lives.
You told them that.
Yes, we did tell
And
them
they said,
that.
please go and do that. And
They
waiting.
said, with this one, Kivumbi is not going to do it. Some people can do it better for us. Please go and do it. Now, what did they send me to do? One, they told me we want a smart city. A smart city in the context of opportunities. We want to be given opportunities to work, Mr. Jagenda. You see, we have been pushed here and there. You see, this country is one of the countries that does not have enough jobs for its school dropouts, graduates, all those categories. And this is a younger generation. This is a younger population in Uganda. You are aware that over almost 75% are below 40 years of age in Uganda. That's the general average. Over 75% are below 40 years of age, meaning it's a younger population. A younger population looks for opportunities. Now it asks the leaders, from the president to the chairperson in LC1 or to the citizen, that we must create opportunities. Therefore, as we organize the smart city in Kampala, in this context, like I was telling you, we want the borders to be organized. Because they're bringing a lot of money.
Can we achieve that in Kampala?
Why not?
Because eventually we'll have more borders than the people even.
It's just the goodwill or the powers that be. What do I mean? For example, if we decide to organize the borders in Kampala, you'll hear the president making a statement. The president of the Republic of Uganda making a statement. When you say, we want now this taxi to take this route, you hear somebody running. For example, we had an issue with the old tax park. I think you have been following up that matter. We are saying, as KCCA, actually in the context of the smart city, we are saying we have a master plan for the development of the old tax park. And we have consultants. We have invested a lot of money in consultants. They have taken a study. Actually, in the next council, they're going to make a presentation on how we are going to redevelop the old tax park. Now, the property owners around the park are, instead of coming to State Hall, to talk with the road mayor, to talk with the ED, and the powers that are at the center there, the leaders of the city, they run to Rachula. You, a person, a business person, a tycoon in the city, owning, who was leased the plot, because it was just a lease. And the lease is conditional. So they leased the plots. Instead of coming to the powers, the local authorities, to the engineers, for advice, for technical advice, why do you run to the president in Rachula?
Hold it there. Wasn't it a bad idea in the first place to, first of all, make Kampala an authority that has both the political and the technical wing? Because all the authorities that we have in this country work differently. When they were debating in 2009, I think, 2009, 2010, just before they passed a bill into law, these arguments were very vehement from members of parliament, saying, we are going to create a problem. Now, when you read the answers of parliament, you notice that persons like the Honorable Imat Cecilia Ogwal is one of those who came out very vehemently, the likes of Elijah Okopa, saying, we are doing this today, but it will cause a problem in the future. Why? And they cited the same thing that you're talking about. On that answer, I think it's either Elijah Okopa or Doga Oto saying,
what was their position?
One day, their position was not to have a city that has a political side and a technical side. And they were saying, one day we'll have a problem with borders. And when we say the borders are too many in the city, they have this problem, then a politician, maybe the president, maybe the Lord Mayor, maybe my Lord Councillor here, another person will say, no, Don't touch, because engineer Biamukama wants a good seat, and that's why he says, I'm speaking frankly. He doesn't want to see these potholed roads. But Ndugu Sebufu says, the people in Chanja will actually get mad with me if I actually told my borders in Chanja that don't come to the city. Biamukama says, don't come. Sebufu says, please,
just come.
Yes, you're going to cause us a problem. And that's why it is. Don't you think in the first place we actually
No,
made a
first of
mistake?
all, I can give some brief history about that. Why the Capital City Authority? First of all, it was a little political, because the NRM as a party has failed since the times of His Lordship Yiga Christopher. Failed to win an election in Kampala for the position of mayor and the road mayor respectively. They went to the population said, no, we are going to vote opposition. And they have been, it is, you know it, they have been voting opposition because of its reasons. There are so many reasons why. Now, my friends in the secretariat of NRM, because it is the system, who told the president that now Kampala is getting out of pressure from the citizens. There are so many people that are coming to Kampala. Kampala should not be taken as a district, because it was only a district. It shouldn't be taken as a district like others, like Bushenyi,
like the other districts.
Yes, districts. So, in terms of budgeting, Kampala should have a big allocation from the national budget than any of these ones. So, it should be modified. That was the concept of the disadvantages too. Now, for the president and his government, they thought now transforming Kampala in that spirit, they need to have a new law to come in place. That's how it came about. So in 2010, that's the law you're talking about. It came, but for the initiator, that was the spirit of the law. But now when it came, the president and the cabinet and the parliament disorganized the governance question of Kampala through that law. The case is
and you know why I'm appreciative about that? Because it's very good history that I also know about. My Lord Mayor, Senior Counsel Kwago, was the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs at that time, the shadow cabinet, and a member of Parliament for Kampala. When he was actually debating on that particular law, he cited one of the rules of Parliament that says when you're discussing on an issue and you are interested person, you declare your interest. He's on record saying, I am an interested party because I am the next mayor of Kampala, which to me is actually very okay, because he's just honest. He says, I'm talking about this thing, I want this law because I'm coming in as mayor. And Kampalans have given him actually all this olive branch to be their mayor. My only issue is I am a resident of Kampala, I am a citizen of Kampala, I am a citizen of Uganda. I drive on the roads of Uganda. I want to go buy my car, drive on it, and preserve my shock absorbers. Yes. I want to move from my home in Makindye and know that in the next 15 minutes, I'll actually be at UBC. I don't have to come to UBC to do a program from Makindye, and I'm coming, I'm spending 2 hours to just come and do a program for 1 hour or even 30 minutes. Yes. I want to stay home, pray up, do all these things, and know that if I leave my home in Kansanga, I know that in the next 15 minutes, I will actually be hosting Sebufu in studio. So, to me, the battles of NRM and the opposition and all the others are secondary. The issue here is what we need to do now. That forever, people are saying we want to vote for the opposition. Forever, it is the opposition versus the other one. But this man, the engineer, wants to give us a road. Aston is coming on to say, please have this application. Jagana is moving out of here, and the next stop is, I'm going to URA. I want to know whether if I drive like this on Kampala Road, Jinja Road, I'll be there.
Jagana and the viewers, it is something you need to understand and appreciate.
Tell us that thing that we need to appreciate.
The decisions for the development of a country are taken by a politician.
And even the failures are also orchestrated by the politicians.
The what?
The failures are also orchestrated by you, the politicians.
I don't know whether that is right. Okay. But the decision, for example, to allocate money to Kampala, Capital City Authority, is done by a politician.
The members of parliament.
First of all, the cabinet itself.
Okay.
from the Minister of Finance. Because every appeal we make will go through the Minister of Finance, who is appointed by the President, a President who is elected by the people. That must be appreciated, and they should receive it in good faith and good spirit. Before they take any confidence, these ones come in to implement the policies first. Secondly, the people of Kampala, actually the whole country, Uganda, our constitution is clear. People must be governed in a way they decide themselves to be governed.
In accordance?
In accordance with the constitution.
In accordance?
Yeah, in accordance with the
That's
constitution.
what the constitution
The provision is clear that people should always decide how they should be governed. When they pick me, one time, I went to State House. One time in around 2007.
How long have you been a councillor?
This is the second term.
This is your second term?
Because I was there in 2006, 2011.
Okay.
By that time, we wrote a document, we took it to the president. But what the president said, I remember. That's why the issue of politics is very important at this point in time. The president told Mr. William to me, he was the town clerk for KCC at that time, acting town clerk. He told him, Mr. Town clerk, if you feel you cannot work with me for these next 5 years, because Ugandans have given me a contract for 5 years to guide them on how they should be led, economically, socially, and otherwise. Please just get aside and I pick somebody else. Those are the powers of a politician. I just want to emphasize that. Now, these engineers have no problem. These ones, they implement the decisions I've given them. They spend the money we have given them. And they're willing to do that. Now, the issue is to us who are designing the priorities for this country. We are saying on this program and all the time that Cabinet, Parliament must take Kampala as a priority area. The strategic agenda we have for 2020, 2025 was approved by all stakeholders, government inclusive. Why don't they give Kampala a priority? If they give Kampala a priority, you're going to find that our friends in France, they're going to increase on what they are giving us. When they're saying, we are there, they say, now, what's your budget, you people in Kampala? How are you going to handle that job? Checking here and there, almost there was no budget. The engineer needs to have better roads. Approximately 600 kilometers have been tarmacked, are not very well. Out of the 2,100 kilometers we have in Kampala. What do you expect?
Okay, our time is running out. Let me hear from Engineer Biamukama. Engineer, our time is running out. We have about 5 minutes to be out of studios. Smart City. Shall we achieve it? From your angle now, the politician is there, and you know politicians, they have all these powers, like he says. You people are just there, and yes, you want to see these things happening, but the will to actually see these things happening. And of course, at the end of the day, good city, because I know that one day you want to be written about somewhere to say, when we had that good thing, Biamukama was actually the city engineer.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I think for me, I'm optimistic. I think that we shall achieve a smart city. Where we are now, you know, it's just a matter of time, and we just need to put in more resources. We put in a lot of our energy, use whatever we have in a frugal manner. But if you are to ask me in a few words, I think one is we need to deal with the sort out the public transport in the city. That one is a must.
We should have done that yesterday.
Yes, but we still have an opportunity. In fact, now government is pushing and putting in at least money towards buses. We have Kira Motors going to produce about 1,030 buses in the next 24 months. We have Metu Zongtong, which we signed with an MOU. 1,000 buses could be coming on board, so that's about 2,000. It's not all that we need, but it's a good start. We have the Ministry of Works and
the argument for that, Engineer, before you go far, the argument is that we already have a congested city with very small mini buses. Now you're bringing buses, but what's going to happen to the mini buses? And of course, the next thing is you will hear now the Kotisa, Kotida, Utrada, X, Y, and Z also are struggling and quarreling.
You know, surprisingly,
we already have no space. They're on board.
They are on board. Like I told you, we had a French study with them. They also appreciate, they've gone to all these places. They've gone to Dar es Salaam and seen the nice bus rapid transit. They've been to Cape Town. They've seen how people moved from minibuses to bus rapid transit. And they've also been to Kigali. They went also on the Aston Project. They've seen how mobility is there and how a lot of digitization is being used. You don't have to keep shouting at 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 the taxi that we are going here. That information is available. So they all know these things, and we have just to move faster on that line. In terms of the roads, yes, we have to widen those that we can widen where we have right of way, and I want to appeal to the citizens and residents of Kampala along the roads that we are going to work on. Please give us that right of way for us to improve your environment, your neighborhood, and also make your journeys to all the places that you need to safer and also faster.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much. Mr. Chivumbi, we have just a few minutes, in 1.5 minutes, your final call and clarion call to the people. What needs to be done, the Aston Project, and what do you expect from the rest of us, the people of Kampala?
Yeah, overwhelmed by the interaction today, and I would like to appreciate the technocrats and our director from engineering. Thank you for coming to explain, because many times when lots of things are happening in the background, people don't know. But if such important people come and explain to the people, then people will say, oh, wow, I didn't know this is happening. And I'm also grateful for Mr. Honorable Sebufu for the time that he has taken to explain, because for the first time I'm seeing the political climate in Kampala is conducive for the technocrats, because all along it has been politics before, fighting one another. I mean, when shall we implement? But I'm happy for the Lord Mayor, I'm happy for the councillors, Lord Councillors, I'm happy for the political wing to come up and sit down with the executive. Madam Dorothy Chisaka, our boss, and of course may I have a supervisor, Martin Sekaja, who is heading the IT department where Aston is. So they're trying to see that this harmony is taking Kampala to a greater level. So I'm really happy, and also for the national broadcaster to give us this airwave, such that we can be able to tell the people of Kampala. I mean, we all want a clean Kampala, we want a smart Kampala. We want to be that city that is going to change the lives of people, is going to inspire people, because the programs for tourism, the other day I saw the ED meeting the ED of Uganda Tourism Board, because they want to see that apart from the work, apart from working in Kampala, is there something else people can benefit. So as the international community clicks into Kampala, there's a lot that they're going to expect. Digitalization is something that we have to embrace. I understand as we're trying to implement this, there are some people who are stepped on their foot, and that is obvious, but we have to pay a price for which we want to, for what we want to achieve. So they will bear with us as we're trying to do this, because it will come with, of course, some price, like I've said. So I understand that this is going to, at the end of the day, omuganda agamba nti akutwala ekiro omusima bukoze ki omusima bukedde, implying that someone who takes out the night, you don't want to wake up but in the morning say, oh, thank you so much for this campaign. I know the parliament is so far seeing what is happening, the executive is seeing what is happening, and thank you so much, sir, Mr. Jagenda, for hosting us.
Okay. Thank you. Finally, just in 30 minutes, you're a politician. You may even end up asking for a vote now.
3 minutes I'll be done. First of all, thank you very much for this great opportunity you have given us. But my message is, first of all, our Lord Mayor is the man called the rule of law. We are telling the executive director and her team, management team,
Madam Chisaka,
that follow this instrument.
That's the KCC
and
Act,
other laws.
as amended.
This is the KCC Act. We are telling the State Minister, Honorable Mr. Kabanda, follow the law, Mr. Kabanda, Mr. Kabanda. We are telling RCC that follow the law. Lord Mayor, follow the law. Speaker, follow the law.
Is it a very good law? Is it a good law?
It's not a very good law.
Okay.
But it's a fair law.
Okay.
We can
let them follow that fair law.
Let them in the meantime, as we are made, follow this. Why have I brought this?
That's what we even have.
Why have I brought this? For example, my industry about buses. Section 11 of this act says that all development programs must be initiated by the Lord Mayor, meaning the executive. And so I want to assure you, I'm a member of the executive.
You are not part of the...
We have not discussed anything to do with the buses, for example.
Very good. And I was expecting that.
And that is a very serious matter.
I was expecting that to come up.
So, I'm saying it has to follow the law. Secondly, the government should give priority to Kampala. Third, I want to thank the technical team is trying its level best. But again, possibly I can say this in Uganda, that ekibuga kwa abantu basinga abo mu Kampala bogera Uganda. Ekibuga kya buli munna Kampala, kya buli munna Uganda. Buli mwati kufuna omukisa okukolera mu kibuga ky'e Kampala. Wabula ffe abakulembeze tuteeketeeke butesitesi. Muganda of RCC awabuwi magezi takulembe tawa biragiro kwate kati mukiza college naye usanga ali mukulagira tegeza disorganization ebetusi mwabagagga mujembu kulembeze bw'ekibuga mutesenso mugere ku nsonga zamu naye n'abaavu n'abatandika abavuzi ba bodaboda bano abavuzi ba taxi tuteekwa bawo mukisa okukolera mu kibuga kubanga nabo bavoomu ne bafuuka abagagga abanene
tulyoke tufune smart city gye twagala
olwogera mu smart city smart city bannayalabagala kigambo kibadde
nga tuva ku mpewo bwatuyiseeko dda
smart city abantu badde bakidde nga tuva ku mpewo badde bakidde smart city tekitegeeza keera kwera nguudo kuyola bantu bakuba kabangali niwakwate ffe nabeera twagala ekibuga ekiyonjo eyanziza tuyanze samusaka kabaka awanga thank you so much for this opportunity once again and be giving us goodness for public transport.
I want to thank you so much. Thank you, Councillor Sebufu. Thank you so much, Engineer Byamukama. Thank you so much, my brother, Chivumbi Ernest. Benjamin, I will stop the conversation here, but I think we'll find time again and get these politicians from Kampala here to talk about these issues. It's very important. We need more engagement with you. My name is Yagana Semakola Ziksoka, wishing all the best and, of course, a blessed new month of March. May God bless you for God and my country. We'll talk again tomorrow. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala.